The upscale restaurant gleamed with crystal chandeliers and polished silverware, where the gentle clink of fine dining utensils echoed through air thick with expensive perfume and quiet conversation. Jack Miller sat quietly at a corner table, his attention focused entirely on the small girl beside him. His worn dress shirt, borrowed from his brother, felt tight around the collar, the only semi-formal clothing he could manage for tonight's unexpected company event. His calloused hands looked out of place against the pristine white tablecloth. The waitstaff whispered among themselves, exchanging glances that silently questioned his presence in this exclusive establishment. A construction worker and a child clearly didn't belong amid the atmosphere of luxury and pretense that surrounded them. Jack noticed their stares but pretended not to focusing, instead on making his daughter feel comfortable in these unfamiliar surroundings. Emma Miller's wide eyes darted around the room, taking in the elegant decor with childlike wonder. At 7 years old, she possessed a curiosity about the world that sometimes took Jack's breath away. How she managed to maintain such innocent enthusiasm after losing her mother 2 years ago never ceased to amaze him. Her small fingers fidgeted with the fancy napkin on her lap, carefully folded into the shape of a swan by the server, who had reluctantly seated them earlier. Amid the hushed murmurs and sidelong glances, the restaurant's main door swung open. Olivia Harrison appeared in a perfectly tailored business dress, while commanding attention without effort. The young CEO walked with the confidence of someone who knew exactly where she belonged at the top. Several diners straightened in their seats, recognizing the woman whose face regularly graced the business section of newspapers and whose real estate empire had transformed the city's skyline over the past 5 years. Jack watched her entrance with a mixture of admiration and discomfort, painfully aware of the vast differences between their worlds. He hadn't expected Harrison Properties' CEO to attend the contractor appreciation dinner. Executives at that level rarely bothered with such events. He'd only come himself because his supervisor had insisted his 5 years of exceptional work deserved recognition, even if it meant bringing Emma when his regular babysitter canceled last minute. Emma tugged at his sleeve, her small voice barely audible in the sophisticated atmosphere. "I'm hungry, Daddy." The simple statement pierced Jack's heart with familiar pain. Another moment, when his limitations as a single parent created situations where he couldn't provide what other children took for granted. The prices on this menu would cover their grocery budget for nearly a week. Jack gently broke the dinner roll from his plate, sharing half with Emma, while trying to make their modest sustenance feel special rather than inadequate. "We'll have a proper dinner at home later, Princess. This is just a quick stop for Daddy's work." His whispered promise was meant to comfort both of them. The sight of father and daughter sharing their simple meal, amid elaborate courses and expensive wine, created a tableau that caught Olivia's attention as she moved through the room, greeting business associates with practiced charm. Something about their genuine interactions stood out in stark contrast to the strategic networking that filled her professional life. Olivia paused in her circuit of the room, her gaze lingering on the corner table. With decisive steps that surprised even herself, she changed direction and walked directly toward Jack and Emma, breaking from her planned path through the restaurant's social hierarchy. The waitstaff straightened their posture as she approached, while nearby diners watched with obvious interest. Jack looked up to find Olivia Harrison standing before their table, her presence immediately transforming their little corner of the restaurant. He began to rise, apology already forming on his lips, certain they had somehow violated the unspoken rules of this establishment. His mind raced through possible explanations. Perhaps they were seated at a reserved table, or Emma's occasional whispers had disturbed the sophisticated atmosphere. Olivia's measured voice cut through his anxious thoughts. "I don't have a husband, so can I have a date with you?" The question hung in the air, silencing conversations at nearby tables. Waiters froze mid-step, water glasses suspended halfway to lips. In the sudden quiet, Emma's innocent giggle seemed amplified. Jack stared at Olivia, certain he had misheard. The CEO of Harrison Properties, a woman whose net worth exceeded what he would earn in several lifetimes, couldn't possibly be addressing him with such a proposition. Emma's response came before Jack could formulate words. "My daddy doesn't have a wife anymore." Her matter-of-fact statement contained all the blunt honesty of childhood, cutting through the tension with unintentional precision. Jack finally found his voice stumbling over words that reflected his disbelief. "Please don't joke with me. I'm just an ordinary construction foreman trying to raise my daughter and provide her with stability despite our limited resources." His straightforward assessment of their situation acknowledged the obvious disparity between them without self-pity. Olivia's smile carried genuine warmth rather than condescension as she addressed his concerns directly. I'm not joking at all. I've spent years attending events filled with people who say exactly what they think I want to hear, and I'm exhausted by the superficiality and strategic calculation that characterizes most of my social interactions. Her candor matched his own, creating an unexpected moment of authenticity amid the restaurant's carefully maintained pretense. Emma studied Olivia with unfiltered curiosity, her small voice cutting through the adult complexities. I like your sparkly necklace. Are you a princess? The question emerged with such innocent sincerity that several nearby diners smiled despite themselves. Olivia's laughter, genuine rather than practiced, surprised even her closest business associates seated across the room. No, I'm not a princess. I just work with buildings like your dad, but with more paperwork and fewer hammers. Her simplified explanation bridged the gap between their worlds in terms Emma could understand. Jack's protective instincts warred with unexpected attraction as he watched Olivia interact with his daughter. The woman before them seemed genuinely interested in their conversation rather than performing kindness for appearance's sake. Her designer dress and flawless makeup couldn't disguise the spark of authentic connection that had been missing from her practiced social exchanges. Olivia gestured to the empty chair at their table. Would you mind if I joined you for a few minutes? The request sounded sincere rather than charitable, her interest in their company appearing genuine despite the whispers now circulating through the restaurant. Before Jack could respond, Emma nodded enthusiastically, patting the seat beside her with unrestrained welcome. You can sit by me. Daddy says I have good manners when we have company, which isn't very often because he works a lot. Her innocent revelation of their limited social life caused Jack's cheeks to warm with embarrassment. Olivia settled gracefully beside Emma, ignoring the discreet gasps from nearby tables where business associates and social climbers watched this unexpected development with barely concealed interest. Thank you for the invitation. I think your dad's right about your excellent manners. Jack observed their interaction with cautious amazement, wondering what had prompted this successful, sophisticated woman to abandon her usual social circle for their company. Whatever her motivation, Emma's delight at having someone new to talk with made it difficult to question Olivia's presence. Olivia signaled a waiter, ordering simple food rather than the elaborate specialties typically associated with her status. Her request for an ordinary meal rather than chef's recommendations sent another ripple of surprise through the observing diners who had come to expect certain behaviors from someone of her position. As their unexpected dinner progressed, conversation revealed depths of character and experience that challenged both adults' assumptions. Jack described his work responsibilities with quiet pride and explaining the satisfaction of creating structures that would stand for generations. His approach to single parenting emerged through anecdotes about weekend science projects and bedtime story marathons, small moments that reflected his dedication to creating stability for Emma despite limited resources. Olivia listened with focused attention, asking questions that demonstrated genuine interest rather than polite obligation. Her own background gradually emerged through careful references to childhood experiences of emotional isolation despite material abundance. Without explicitly stating it, she conveyed the paradox of her current life, professional success accompanied by personal disconnection that left her surrounded by people yet fundamentally alone. Emma's presence kept their exchange grounded in authenticity, her innocent questions preventing either adult from retreating behind social masks. Do you have a little girl like me? Her direct inquiry about Olivia's personal life would have been considered inappropriate in business circles where the CEO's private matters remained carefully guarded. Olivia's expression softened with momentary vulnerability. No, I don't have any children. My work keeps me very busy. The simple admission contained layers of unspoken complexity, choices made and opportunities postponed during her meteoric rise through the business world. Jack recognized the subtle shift in Olivia's demeanor, catching a glimpse of loneliness beneath her confident exterior. His own experience of isolation following his wife's death had taught him to recognize similar emotions in others, despite the vast differences in their circumstances. As their unexpected dinner concluded, other diners in the restaurant continued watching with undisguised curiosity. The unlikely trio had created the most interesting social development in months, providing gossip material that would circulate through corporate networks by morning. Olivia rose from the table with practiced grace, her professional mask sliding back into place as she prepared to rejoin her expected social circle. Meeting you both has been the highlight of my evening. The sincerity in her voice surprised Jack, who had expected their interaction to be forgotten once she returned to her usual associates. Before departing, Olivia reached into her purse and withdrew a business card, placing it discreetly beside Jack's plate. If you're ever brave enough to continue our conversation, my direct number is on the back. Her invitation remained private despite the attentive audience at nearby tables. Emma's enthusiastic goodbye drew smiles from even the most judgmental observers. Will we see you again? Her question held the uncomplicated hope of childhood unencumbered by the social complexities that adults recognized in such situations. Olivia's response balanced honesty with optimism. That depends on your dad. Some questions require careful thought before answering. Her gaze met Jack's, acknowledging the unlikely nature of their connection while leaving possibility open. Jack watched Olivia return to her associates, their unexpected interaction already transforming into memory. The business card rested beside his plate, a tangible reminder of a moment that seemed increasingly surreal as the evening continued. His practical nature questioned what possible future could exist between a construction foreman and a CEO whose worlds barely intersected outside this chance encounter. Emma's voice interrupted his thoughts. I think she's nice, Daddy, not fancy acting like she looks. Her simple assessment cut through complicated adult considerations with characteristic directness. As they eventually left the restaurant, Jack noticed the different quality of attention they received, no longer dismissed as out-of-place intruders, but regarded with speculative interest following Olivia's unexpected focus. The business card rested in his pocket, its presence both promising and intimidating as they returned to their modest apartment across town. The news of CEO Olivia Harrison's dinner with an unknown construction worker spread rapidly through corporate networks and social media platforms, creating exactly the kind of public attention that successful executives typically avoided unless it served strategic business purposes. Speculation about her motivations and Jack's identity revealed fascination with stories that challenged conventional wisdom about social hierarchy and romantic relationships. Jack's arrival at this construction site the following morning brought unexpected attention from colleagues who had already seen social media posts about the previous evening. Photographs captured by restaurant patrons had circulated with captions ranging from curious to cynical: Harrison CEO's new project and charity case or something more. His supervisor approached with barely contained curiosity disguised as casual conversation. So you made quite an impression at the appreciation dinner. The comment invited an explanation without directly asking for details that Jack might prefer to keep private. Jack focused on securing his hard hat, uncomfortable with the scrutiny from coworkers who typically paid little attention to his personal life. Ms. Harrison was just being polite to a guest at her company's event. His deliberate understatement attempted to discourage further speculation. Across town in the sleek headquarters of Harrison Properties, Olivia faced similar questioning from her executive team. The Monday morning meeting ostensibly focused on quarterly projections, but subtle references to community outreach and diverse perspectives contained barely veiled allusions to her unexpected dinner companion. Olivia addressed the unspoken questions with characteristic directness during a momentary break in the presentation. My personal associations remain private unless they impact company performance. Our focus today should remain on the riverfront development timeline. Her clear boundary temporarily redirected attention to professional matters, though speculative glances continued throughout the meeting. The business card remained on Jack's nightstand for 3 days, its embossed lettering catching morning light as he considered possibilities and probable disappointments. His practical nature cataloged all the reasons to discard at different worlds: public scrutiny, inevitable disappointment when novelty faded. Yet something about Olivia's genuine interest in their conversation kept him from throwing it away. Emma's innocent question during bedtime routine finally prompted decision. Did the pretty lady from the restaurant call us? Her assumption that a communication would naturally continue revealed childlike faith in connections that adults approached with greater caution. Jack's honest answer acknowledged adult complexity while respecting his daughter's direct question. She gave me her number, but I haven't called her yet. Sometimes grown-ups need to think carefully about new friendships. Emma's response cut through his hesitation with simple logic. But Daddy, you always tell me we should be brave about meeting new people. Her use of his own parenting wisdom against him brought unexpected clarity to his indecision. The following afternoon, during his lunch break at the construction site, Jack finally dialed the number written in elegant script on the back of Olivia's business card. He sat in his truck, sheltered from co-workers' curious glances, half expecting to reach an assistant who would screen calls from unfamiliar numbers. Olivia's voice answered directly, her tone shifting from professional to pleased when he identified himself. I was beginning to think you'd decided against bravery. Her gentle teasing acknowledged the courage required to bridge their different worlds. Jack's response contained honesty rather than apology. I needed to think about what this conversation might mean for Emma, especially. She's had enough disappointment already. His reference to potential complications demonstrated the careful consideration behind his call. Olivia's reply revealed similar reflection. I understand completely. Children deserve protection from adult uncertainties. What if we start with something simple? Coffee at the park near your daughter's school. No pressure, just conversation without restaurant audiences and social media photographers. Her suggestion thoughtfully addressed his likely concerns while demonstrating interest in continued connection. Their arrangement for weekend coffee deliberately avoided upscale establishments where Jack would feel out of place and Olivia would attract attention. The neighborhood park offered neutral territory where Emma could play within sight while adults talked without pressure of either luxury or time constraints. Saturday morning arrived with perfect autumn weather, sunshine warming the playground, where families gathered without concern for social status or professional achievements. Jack arrived early, allowing Emma to join other children on the swings, while he secured a bench with good visibility. Olivia appeared exactly as promised, having exchanged business attire for jeans and a simple sweater that allowed her to blend with other adults rather than command attention. Her hair, usually styled for boardroom impression, fell in natural waves around shoulders, relaxed without the weight of corporate expectations. Their greeting contained momentary awkwardness, as both recognized the deliberate choice to continue connection begun in such unlikely circumstances. Jack offered coffee from the local shop, nothing expensive, but selected with care rather than convenience. Olivia accepted with genuine appreciation her thanks, acknowledging the thoughtfulness behind the gesture, rather than comparing quality to her usual premium standards. Emma's periodic returns from playground adventures provided natural breaks in adult conversation. Her excited reports about new friends and climbing achievements, creating shared smiles that bridged remaining distance between Jack and Olivia. And her unfiltered observations sometimes revealed more than either adult might voluntarily share. Daddy says you must be very smart to be a boss lady of big buildings. Olivia's laughter contained no condescension, only appreciation for childhood directness. Being smart helps, but listening to people who know things you don't is even more important. That's why I visit construction sites instead of just looking at pictures. Her explanation honored Jack's expertise while simplifying complex business principles for Emma's understanding. As morning stretched toward afternoon, their conversation gradually revealed personal histories beneath professional identities. Jack's description of meeting his late wife Lisa during vocational training contained quiet pride in their shared dreams of building a stable home for children they hoped to raise. The car accident that left him a widower emerged not as defining tragedy, but as profound loss that had reshaped rather than destroyed his future. Olivia's own path appeared through careful references to childhood experiences in a family where material success substituted for emotional connection. Her decision to transform her father's struggling real estate office into a development empire stemmed partly from determination to prove her value in measurable terms when personal worth had always seemed conditional. The playground provided perfect metaphor for their developing connection, a place where joy coexisted with occasional falls, where different backgrounds disappeared in shared experience of sunshine and simple pleasures. Emma's eventual request for ice cream from a passing vendor created opportunity for Olivia to participate in small family ritual without overstepping boundaries. As their afternoon concluded, the awkwardness of their first meeting had evolved into comfortable companionship based on discovered commonalities rather than obvious differences. Jack's invitation emerged without rehearsal. Emma's school has a science fair next Thursday evening. She's been working on a project about building materials. You might find it interesting, professionally speaking. His offer carefully framed continued connection within appropriate context. Olivia's acceptance contains similar care. I'd love to see her project. Science education is something Harrison Properties supports through our community foundation. Her reference to professional interest provided acceptable explanation for ongoing association that both recognized might raise questions in their respective circles. The school science fair created another milestone in their developing relationship, the first public setting, where Jack and Olivia appeared together by deliberate choice rather than chance encounter. Emma's excitement about showing her project to both adults established her comfort with Olivia's presence in their lives, while teachers' surprised recognition of the prominent CEO created ripples of curiosity throughout the elementary school gymnasium. Olivia's focused attention on Emma's carefully constructed display demonstrated genuine interest rather than polite obligation. Her questions about different building materials revealed professional knowledge while encouraging the child's developing understanding of principles Jack had shared from his practical experience. Other parents barely concealed curiosity about Olivia's presence beside Jack, created background tension that both adults tacitly agreed to ignore. Their shared focus on Emma's achievement established priority that transcended social expectations or conventional romantic patterns, where children remained peripheral until relationships solidified. Following the science fair success, their connection developed through carefully planned interactions that balanced Emma's inclusion with opportunities for adults to discover compatibility beyond initial attraction. Weekend picnics, museum visits, and neighborhood walks created shared memories without pressure of defining relationship parameters prematurely. Jack's coworkers gradually shifted from outright skepticism to cautious acceptance of Olivia's continued presence in his life. His supervisor's grudging acknowledgement. She shows up at the site more often than most project managers recognize the genuine nature of connection that had begun with such unlikely public proposition. Olivia's executive team maintained professional skepticism about her association with someone outside their social circle, though direct questioning remained carefully avoided after her initial boundary setting. Board members occasionally referenced work-life balance with meaningful glances, their concerns about possible business implications barely disguised beneath surface politeness. 3 weeks after their first planned meeting at the park, Olivia invited Jack and Emma to dinner at her penthouse apartment, a significant shift from neutral locations to personal space that revealed her growing comfort with their presence in her private life. The invitation acknowledged potential discomfort while offering reassurance. It's just home-cooked pasta, nothing fancy. I thought Emma might enjoy the view of the city from the balcony. Jack's acceptance contained both appreciation and honesty. We'd like that. Just don't be surprised if we're a bit wide-eyed at first. The tallest building I've been in lately is the one we're constructing, and that's still missing walls on the upper floors. His self-deprecating humor acknowledged differences without defensiveness or apology. The evening at Olivia's penthouse revealed contrast between their daily realities without emphasizing disparity that might create distance. Her home, though undeniably luxurious, contained surprising warmth beneath its sophisticated design. Personal photographs and art, selected for meaning rather than investment value, revealed aspects of her character previously glimpsed only through careful conversation. Emma's delighted exploration of floor-to-ceiling windows and panoramic city views provided natural icebreaker as adults navigated this new dimension of their relationship. Her innocent questions about living in the sky prompted shared laughter that eased initial tension about crossing previously maintained boundaries between their worlds. Olivia's kitchen, professionally equipped but showing signs of actual use, contradicted Jack's assumption that successful executives relied entirely on restaurant dining and catering services. Her evident enjoyment of creating simple meals shared with guests demonstrated values beyond professional achievement that resonated with his own priorities. Their dinner conversation ventured into new territory as Emma's occasional attention to tablet games allowed adults to explore topics beyond parenting and professional responsibilities. Discovered shared interests in historical architecture and community development revealed complementary perspectives despite different entry points to these subjects. As evening concluded, Emma's drowsiness created natural endpoint without awkwardness of defining adult expectations. Jack's departure, carrying half-sleeping child, whose contentment reflected comfort in Olivia's home, contained promise of continued connection without pressure of conventional relationship timelines. The following week brought unexpected complication as local business publication featured photograph of Olivia with Jack and Mo at school science fair, accompanying article about Harrison Properties education initiatives. The public documentation of their relationship, previously limited to social media speculation, created new dimension of scrutiny neither had anticipated when accepting teachers' request for quick picture with our special visitor. Olivia's professional associates now had concrete evidence of ongoing connection, rather than momentary curiosity prompting more direct questioning about her intentions. Her executive assistant's carefully phrased inquiry, "The board has been asking about your community outreach priorities," contained obvious subtext about personal choices becoming public business matters. Jack faced similar interrogation disguised as concern from his former father-in-law during regular Sunday visit. "This CEO lady seems pretty serious if you're taking Emma around her." His gruff observation contained complex mixture of protective worry and hope for Jack's happiness after years of solitary parenting. Their individual responses to external pressure revealed developing trust despite relatively brief acquaintance. Olivia's boundary setting with her board: "My personal relationships remain private unless they affect company performance." Matched Jack's straightforward answer to family concerns: "Olivia treats Emma with respect and kindness. That's what matters most right now." 6 weeks after their restaurant meeting, another company event created opportunity for more public appearance together, this time by deliberate choice rather than chance circumstance. Harrison Properties' annual charity gala traditionally included contractors working on major projects, though construction supervisors rarely attended these formal functions dominated by investors and executives. Jack's initial reluctance stemmed from practical concerns rather than social insecurity. "I'd need appropriate clothes, childcare for Emma," an explanation for coworkers who definitely notice. His assessment acknowledged logistics rather than rejecting possibility outright. Olivia's response addressed each concern with respect for his independence, rather than offering solutions that might feel like charity. The invitation includes funds for formal wear rental, standard practice for all contractors. "My assistant could recommend qualified childcare if your usual person isn't available. As for co-workers, you have earned recognition for the Riverfront project's success." Her acknowledgement of potential complications demonstrated understanding of his perspective rather than dismissing his concerns. Their arrival at the gala, Jack in rented tuxedo that fit surprisingly well, Olivia in elegant simplicity that complemented rather than overshadowed his appearance, created immediate stir among assembled business elite. Unlike their first public encounter, this appearance represented a deliberate choice to acknowledge developing relationship despite scrutiny it would inevitably attract. The evening progressed with unexpected ease, as Jack's professional knowledge and straightforward manner earned respect from business associates initially inclined toward condescension. His detailed understanding of construction challenges affecting project timelines provided valuable perspective during conversations typically dominated by financial projections rather than practical implementation concerns. Olivia's evident appreciation for his contributions to these discussions, demonstrated through attentive listening rather than protective intervention, established partnership dynamic that contradicted assumptions about their relationship's power imbalance. Her introduction of Jack to key investors emphasized his professional expertise rather than personal connection, creating context where his presence made business sense independent of their developing relationship. The evening's turning point arrived during momentary separation when Jack overheard conversation not intended for his ears. Olivia's former boyfriend, successful attorney whose family connections had facilitated her early business development, approached her with barely disguised skepticism about her current interest. His comments, carrying clearly across the terrace where Jack had stepped for momentary respite from crowded ballroom, contained all the condescension and assumptions their relationship had thus far managed to avoid. "This blue-collar phase is certainly unexpected, Olivia, though I suppose charity makes for good publicity these days." Jack remained silent, recognizing Olivia's right to address such commentary without intervention that might seem possessive or controlling. Her response, delivered with calm precision that reflected boardroom authority rather than personal defensiveness, revealed commitment neither had explicitly acknowledged until that moment. "I don't need a husband who's wealthy, Charles. I need someone who understands that authentic relationships are built on character rather than financial statements. Jack brings more value to my life in honesty and integrity than your network ever provided in business connections. Her clear declaration transformed private connection into public statement of values that defined her choices beyond conventional expectations. The remainder of the evening carried different quality of awareness between Jack and Olivia. Unspoken recognition that their relationship had evolved beyond casual exploration into meaningful commitment, requiring deliberate decisions about future direction. Their conversation during drive following gala carefully navigated this new territory without premature declarations that might create pressure. Jack's acknowledgement contained characteristic directness combined with newfound confidence in their connection. I heard what you said to your ex. That was quite a statement for someone who hasn't even met my extended family yet. His gentle teasing disguised deeper question about her actual intentions regarding their relationship's progression. Olivia's response matched his honesty with her own. Sometimes we discover certainty in unexpected moments. Defending what matters helps clarify what we truly value. Her philosophical observation acknowledged significant shift in their relationship without demanding immediate definition of next steps. Their evening concluded with comfortable understanding that development would continue at pace, respecting both Emma's needs and their own desire for foundations stronger than initial attraction or novelty of crossing social boundaries. Jack's departure from Olivia's penthouse following nightcap conversation about Gala's business implications contained promise without pressure, affection without expectation. The following weeks brought gradual integration of their separate lives through increasingly natural inclusion in each other's regular activities. Olivia's occasional appearance at Emma's weekend sports games attracted decreasing attention as school parents adjusted to CEO's presence on sidelines wearing casual clothes and cheering alongside other adults. Jack's introduction to Olivia's small circle of genuine friends, distinguished from business associates by their complete disinterest in leveraging connection to powerful executive, created another bridge between their worlds. These relationships, based on shared interests and mutual support rather than strategic advantage, revealed aspects of her character previously glimpsed only through private interactions. Their developing relationship faced first significant challenge when professional and personal boundaries intersected unexpectedly during critical phase of riverfront development. Structural issue discovered during inspection required substantial redesign that would impact project timeline and budget, placing Jack's professional judgment directly against Olivia's business interest. The conference room fell silent as Jack presented findings that contradicted executive team's optimistic assessment of quick resolution. Safety concerns require comprehensive evaluation rather than expedient fix. My recommendation is 3-week work stoppage on the east section while engineering develops proper solution. His professional assessment came without apology or hesitation, despite awareness of financial implications for Harrison Properties. Olivia's response balanced CEO responsibilities with respect for his expertise, creating tension visible to everyone present, regardless of their knowledge about personal relationship. What alternatives might reduce timeline impact while addressing safety requirements? Her question acknowledged validity of his concerns while seeking compromise that business realities demanded. Their professional disagreement continued through detailed technical discussion where Jack maintained position based on practical experience rather than deferring to her authority. The resulting compromise partial work continuation with enhanced safety protocols during redesign process demonstrated mutual respect that impressed observers from both construction and executive teams. Following the meeting, their private conversation in Olivia's office addressed unspoken concern about relationship implications of professional conflict. Jack's directness opened discussion without defensiveness. I won't compromise safety standards, not even for you. His statement established boundary essential for maintaining both professional clarity and personal respect. Olivia's response revealed why their unlikely connection continued to develop despite obvious differences. That integrity is exactly why I trust you professionally and personally. If you had changed your recommendation because of our relationship, I'd have lost respect for the very quality that attracted me initially. Her acknowledgement of values transcending both social differences and romantic involvement created foundation for resolving inevitable future conflicts without compromising essential principles. As their relationship approached 2-month milestone, significant though unnoted by either adult, Emma's perspective shifted from initial excitement about new friend to deeper attachment, carrying both promise and complication. Her artwork from school increasingly included three figures rather than two, while bedtime conversations occasionally referenced when Olivia lives with us, without questioning whether such arrangement might actually develop. Jack's observation of these changes prompted careful conversation with Olivia during evening walk. Following dinner at his apartment, their first discussion explicitly addressing relationships' impact on Emma, rather than adult expectations or social complications. She's getting attached in ways that worry me. Not because I don't want this to continue, but because disappointment would affect her differently than us. Olivia's thoughtful response demonstrated developing understanding of parental perspective that had initially seemed foreign to her experience. When you date a single parent, you're not just entering one heart, you're entering two, and the smaller one breaks much easier. Her insight revealed emotional intelligence transcending business acumen that had built her professional success. Their conversation continued with new level of honesty about potential future together, acknowledging both possibilities and obstacles with equal candor. Jack's practical nature addressed logistics and lifestyle differences without minimizing emotional connection that had developed despite these challenges. My world is school schedules, overtime shifts, and mortgage payments, not charity galas and board meetings. Olivia's response contains similar realism without diminishing genuine feelings. And my world involves constant scrutiny, business travel, and responsibilities to investors, not ideal conditions for building family stability. Her acknowledgement of potential conflicts demonstrated respect for complexity rather than romantic idealization of love, conquering all differences. Their mutual honesty created paradoxical effect, strengthening connection through willingness to recognize challenges rather than pretending perfect compatibility. The conversation concluded without definitive answers, but with deeper understanding of parameters within which relationship might continue developing toward commitment, both increasingly desired despite complications neither could eliminate. The following weekend brought opportunity for Jack to introduce Olivia to his former father-in-law, connection to Emma's maternal family that remained important despite occasional tension following Lisa's death. The planned lunch at Mata's family restaurant represented significant milestone in relationship's progression, acknowledging Olivia's growing role in both adult and child's life. Robert Mitchell's initial reserve reflected protective concern rather than social judgment, his gruff assessment of Olivia based entirely on potential impact on granddaughter, rather than wealth disparity that occupied most observers' attention. His direct questioning, "What exactly are your intentions regarding my granddaughter?" and her father contained lifetime of experience witnessing relationships begun with enthusiasm but abandoned when complications arose. Olivia's response demonstrated understanding of concerns underlying his interrogation. "I care deeply about both Emma and Jack. My intentions are to continue building a relationship that respects Emma's needs for stability and Jack's role as her father. No one will ever replace her mother, but perhaps I might eventually provide additional support in her life." Her careful acknowledgement of family history and appropriate boundaries revealed sensitivity that impressed the older man despite his initial skepticism. As lunch progressed, Robert's attitude gradually shifted from protective suspicion to cautious acceptance based on Olivia's evident interest in Emma's welfare beyond superficial attention. His parting comment directed at Jack, but clearly intended for both adults, contained grudging approval disguised as practical observation. "Lisa would want you both happy. Emma needs more than just memories of her mother. She needs present love too." The emotional impact of this unexpected endorsement manifested later that evening after Emma's bedtime, when Jack and Olivia's quiet conversation on an apartment balcony turned toward deeper implications of continuing relationship. Jack's voice contained mixture of hope and hesitation that characterized his approach to possibilities beyond comfortable routine established since losing Lisa. "For the first time since she died, I can imagine building something beautiful again, not replacing what was lost, but creating something new." Olivia's response matched his vulnerability with her own. "My success built walls that kept people at comfortable distance. You and Emma somehow found door I didn't realize existed." Her metaphor acknowledged transformation already occurring in her approach to relationships previously evaluated, primarily for strategic value rather than emotional connection. Their conversation continued beneath city stars, weighing practical considerations against growing certainty that differences between their worlds, while real and requiring accommodation, mattered less than compatibility of values and mutual respect, developed through months of careful discovery. The evening concluded without dramatic declarations, but with quiet understanding that relationship had reached turning point, requiring deliberate decision about future direction. The following week brought unexpected catalysts for such decision when local magazine published feature article about unlikely romance between construction foreman and real estate magnate, complete with photographs from charity gala and speculation about fairy tale quality of their relationship. The public exposure, more detailed and widespread than previous mentions in business publications, created immediate pressure from both professional and personal connections. Jack's arrival at construction site the morning following publication brought uncomfortable mixture of teasing, sincere congratulations, and skeptical commentary from coworkers previously willing to ignore relationship they observed but rarely mentioned directly. The foreman's legendary focus on work suffered rare interruption as he found himself defending connection that magazine had portrayed in terms both romanticized and occasionally condescending toward his position relative to Olivia's success. Across town, Olivia faced more serious professional consequences as board members requested special meeting to discuss public relations implications of her personal life becoming media focus. The underlying concern, barely disguised beneath corporate language, questioned whether CEO's judgment in business matters might be compromised by emotional involvement with someone whose financial interests potentially conflicted with company objectives. Their separate experiences converged during evening phone conversation, where both acknowledged external pressure while reaffirming private commitment to relationship based on genuine connection, rather than social expectations or professional advantage. Olivia's frustration contained elements of both personal and professional concern. They've scheduled special meeting tomorrow officially about public perception, but really questioning whether I've lost objectivity about riverfront projects since you're involved. Jack's response reflected growing confidence in relationships' foundation despite external skepticism. We know what's real between us. Everything else is just noise. His straightforward assessment provided anchor amid swirling speculation. Neither could completely control, despite private nature of their actual feelings. The board meeting the following morning presented first serious threat to relationships' continuation as Olivia faced direct questioning about potential conflicts of interest and distractions from corporate priorities that personal involvement with project contractor might create. The underlying implication that successful female executive should maintain personal relationships within appropriate social circle remained unspoken but clearly present in concerned expressions and carefully phrased inquiries. Olivia's response combined professional authority with personal conviction, creating watershed moment in both her career and relationship with Jack. Her address to assembled board members reflected leadership principles that had built companies' success while establishing boundaries, protecting personal choices from corporate oversight. My personal relationships reflect same values that guide my business decisions: integrity, mutual respect, and genuine connection. I don't need a partner who's wealthy or socially prominent. I need someone who demonstrates character and substance beyond superficial qualities our society often prioritizes. Her declaration established perspective that transcended immediate concerns about particular relationship to address broader principles governing personal autonomy, regardless of professional position. The meeting concluded without formal resolution, but with clear understanding that Olivia would continue making personal choices based on her own judgment rather than corporate expectations. The temporary compromise assignment of different executive to oversee riverfront project where Jack worked addressed appearance of conflict while acknowledging CEO's right to private life beyond board's legitimate oversight. That evening, Jack and Olivia met at Neighborhood Park where their planned relationship had first begun, deliberate choice of location reflecting desire to reconnect with initial simplicity amid growing complications. Their conversation acknowledged recent challenges while reaffirming commitment to discovering possibilities together, despite obstacles neither had fully anticipated when attraction first developed. Jack's perspective contained hard-earned wisdom from previous loss, balanced against growing certainty about current relationship. Sometimes life offers second chances we never expected. Recognizing them requires courage, especially when they don't follow familiar patterns. His observation acknowledged unique nature of their connection while affirming genuine quality that transcended obvious differences. Olivia's response completed circle begun with her unexpected question months earlier in upscale restaurant where their worlds first intersected. Perhaps bravery isn't asking for first date in public restaurant. Real courage happens quietly every day, choosing authenticity over expectation, substance over surface, love over convenience. Her reflection revealed personal growth beyond professional confidence that had initially defined her public persona. As they sat together watching sunset paint sky above city skyline, Olivia had helped create and communities Jack had helped build. Their unlikely connection represented something beyond romantic fairy tale portrayed in magazine article. Their developing relationship offered possibility of partnership based on complementary strengths and shared values despite external differences that continued creating both challenges and opportunities for growth. Emma's arrival from playground slide interrupted adult reflection with characteristic timing and innocent wisdom that had shaped their relationship from beginning. Her breathless question contained all the hopeful curiosity of childhood. Are we a family now, the three of us? Her direct inquiry crystallized questions adults had carefully navigated through weeks of developing connection. The moment hung between them, filled with implications neither adult had explicitly voiced despite growing certainty about relationship's direction. Jack's gaze met Olivia's across Emma's expectant face, silent communication reflecting shared understanding that answer would establish foundation for whatever future they might build together. Emma's innocent question hung in the air between them. Jack and Olivia exchanged a glance that contained volumes, uncertainty, hope, and the weight of decision neither had fully anticipated making so soon. Olivia's hand found Jack's across the bench, a gesture both intimate and grounding amid the playground's fading evening light. We're becoming something special together, Emma. But families take time to build properly, like your dad's construction projects. They need a strong foundation before the walls go up. Olivia's careful answer respected the child's question while acknowledging the complexity adults recognized in such transitions. Emma nodded with surprising solemnity before her attention returned to playground adventures. The matter settled in her mind with characteristic seven-year-old flexibility. Jack watched her go, his expression a mixture of wonder and concern. She adapts so quickly. Sometimes I forget how fragile that confidence really is. 3 months after their first meeting, what had begun as unlikely attraction had evolved into relationship neither could have predicted, foundation gradually strengthening despite periodic tremors from external pressures and internal adjustments. Their worlds, initially separated by vast socioeconomic distance, now intersected with increasing frequency, creating new landscape neither fully recognized as permanent, yet neither wished to abandon. Jack's modest apartment had transformed subtly, with Olivia's regular presence, designer throw pillows, appearing on well-worn couch refrigerator, gradually stocking ingredients beyond bachelor father basics, bathroom cabinet, accommodating expensive skincare products alongside Emma's cartoon character toothpaste. These physical changes mirrored less visible adjustments as three distinct lives began cautious integration. Olivia's penthouse similarly reflected their developing connection. Children's books appearing on otherwise business-focused shelves, refrigerator magnets, holding Emma's artwork alongside imported restaurant menus, spare bedroom, gradually accumulating toys and necessities for increasingly frequent overnight visits when Jack worked late or weekend shifts. The sterile showcase property had begun transformation into something resembling home through small personal touches previously absent. Their different worlds created practical challenges beyond emotional adjustment. Jack's work schedule, often involving early mornings and occasional weekends, contrasted with Olivia's executive flexibility that paradoxically contained less freedom due to constant connectivity and international business demands. Coordinating time together required compromise. Neither had practiced extensively before this relationship. Emma's routine added another layer of complexity: school schedules, play dates, and childhood activities, creating structure that corporate meetings and construction timelines needed to accommodate rather than disrupt. Jack's determination to maintain stability for his daughter sometimes created friction when Olivia's spontaneous suggestions collided with established patterns developed through years of single parenting. The first significant conflict emerged from seemingly minor incident when Olivia purchased expensive tablet for Emma without consulting Jack. Her intention providing educational resource to supplement school curriculum came from genuine care rather than attempt to override parental authority. The gift arrived during dinner at Olivia's penthouse, beautifully wrapped with thoughtful selection of learning applications already installed. Emma's delight contrasted sharply with Jack's evident discomfort as package revealed contents worth more than his weekly paycheck. His immediate reaction remained controlled in child's presence, but tension radiated through careful neutrality of his response. That's very generous, but it seems like something we should have discussed first. Later, after Emma had fallen asleep in guest's bedroom, that increasingly felt like her own space-adult conversation addressed underlying issues beyond specific purchase. Jack's concerns emerged without accusation, but with clear boundaries. I can't compete with what you can give her materially. That's not jealousy speaking, it's about values and expectations I'm trying to teach. Olivia's response revealed genuine surprise at implications she hadn't considered. I never thought about it as competition. The money means nothing to me. It was just solving a problem I noticed when she mentioned wanting to research her science project. Her perspective reflected different relationship with resources that made such purchases unremarkable rather than significant statements. Their discussion expanded beyond specific gift to broader questions about parenting partnership and financial disparities that would inevitably affect their relationship if it continued developing toward permanence. Jack's honesty addressed practical reality without pride or resentment. I've built my life around providing what Emma needs through my own efforts. That matters to me, not because I'm stubborn, but because it's part of what I want her to understand about values and self-reliance. Olivia's gradually shifting expression reflected dawning comprehension of perspective initially foreign to her experience. The differences in our resources aren't just about comfort or convenience, they represent completely different worldviews about security, achievement, and responsibility. Her realization acknowledged deeper implications beyond surface disparities in spending capacity. Their conversation continued past midnight, exploring territory most couples navigate gradually through years of shared experience rather than months of accelerated intimacy. The resolution emerged not as compromise, but as mutual understanding agreement that significant purchases or decisions affecting Emma would involve prior discussion, regardless of financial impact or perceived benefit. The tablet remained, but with adjusted parameters reflecting shared values rather than unilateral decision, becoming tool earned through completed chores and educational engagement rather than casual possession taken for granted. This solution honored both Jack's emphasis on earned rewards and Olivia's desire to provide resources supporting Emma's curiosity and development. Their reconciliation following this first significant conflict deepened connection through demonstrated capacity to navigate differences without fundamental damage to developing relationship. Jack's appreciation for Olivia's willingness to understand his perspective balanced her respect for principles underlying his objections beyond initial reaction she might have dismissed as masculine pride in different contexts. The following weeks brought gradual adjustment as both adults incorporated lessons from this exchange into evolving relationship. Olivia became more attuned to implications of financial gestures beyond monetary value, while Jack worked to distinguish between legitimate parenting boundaries and reflexive resistance to unfamiliar advantages Olivia's resources might appropriately provide. Emma's perspective offered unexpected clarity during weekend hiking trip to nearby state park, simple outing that represented perfect balance of accessible adventure within modest budget while offering natural beauty, transcending socioeconomic considerations. Her observation during lunch break cut through adult complexities with characteristic directness. I like when we do things like this better than fancy restaurants. Nobody has to dress uncomfortable, and we can be loud if we want. Both adults recognize wisdom in child's assessment of activities unified by genuine connection rather than external trappings. Their shared laughter acknowledged unspoken agreement to prioritize experiences fostering authentic interaction over impressive settings or expensive entertainment that might create distance rather than closeness, regardless of intended generosity. The public dimension of their relationship continued generating attention beyond private adjustments, creating additional pressure neither had anticipated when connection began. Local business publication featured profile of Olivia that inevitably included references to unconventional romance with construction foremen, while industry newsletter covering major development projects mentioned Jack's connections to executive leadership with implications ranging from professional favoritism to strategic relationship. These external perceptions created distinct challenges within their separate professional spheres. Jack faced subtle shift in coworker interactions, mixture of envy, suspicion, and occasional resentment from colleagues who viewed his relationship as potential advantage rather than genuine connection. Comments about sleeping your way to project manager emerged as bitter jokes barely disguised as good-natured teasing during lunch breaks. Olivia encountered more sophisticated but equally problematic reactions from business associates and board members who questioned whether personal involvement with working-class contractor reflected appropriate judgment for executive responsible for multi-million-dollar investment decisions. The unspoken implication that CEOs' romantic choices should align with corporate image and social expectations remained carefully embedded within legitimate business concerns about project oversight and public perception. Their individual responses to these external pressures revealed compatible values beneath obvious differences in circumstances and background. Jack's approach combined straightforward acknowledgement with firm boundaries during conversation with particularly persistent colleague. My relationship with Olivia has nothing to do with this job. I was foreman before I met her, and I'd be foreman if we broke up tomorrow. My work stands on its own, just like yours should. Olivia's handling of boardroom innuendo demonstrated similar principles with different vocabulary during quarterly review meeting where personal questions emerged disguised as professional concerns. I separate my personal and professional judgment precisely because I value this company's success above individual relationships. That said, I won't apologize for recognizing quality and integrity wherever I find it in business or in life. Their parallel experiences created new dimension of understanding during evening conversations that increasingly addressed larger implications of relationship transcending initial attraction or compatibility of personalities. Jack's perspective acknowledged reality beyond romantic idealization during dinner preparation in his modest kitchen. We're not just two people figuring out feelings. We're different worlds colliding with all the debris that creates for everyone in orbit around us. Olivia's response contained equal parts determination and uncertainty as she diced vegetables beside him in domestic scene that would have seemed impossible months earlier. Perhaps that collision creates something entirely new, neither your world nor mine, but something we build together. Her philosophical observation reflected optimism, balanced by realistic assessment of challenges they continued facing from external expectations and internal adjustments. 4 months into a relationship that had begun with impulsive question in upscale restaurant, the practical implications of their different backgrounds emerged beyond abstract considerations or philosophical discussions. Olivia's company announced major charity gala requiring CEO's attendance with appropriate guests creating social expectation that naturally included Jack given their now established relationship status. The event, held at exclusive country club, where membership wait lists stretched years and annual fees exceeded Jack's monthly salary, represented exactly the environment where their differences would be most visible and potentially uncomfortable, despite growing confidence in private connection. The unspoken question hung between them during initial conversation about invitation, whether Jack could navigate such unfamiliar territory without embarrassment for either of them, despite genuine desire to support Olivia's professional obligations. Their discussion addressed practical concerns beyond social anxiety, revealing deeper understanding of relationship dynamics than might be expected from relatively recent connection. Jack's honesty acknowledged legitimate considerations without insecurity that might have characterized earlier stages of their relationship. I can rent appropriate clothes and learn which fork to use. What concerns me is spending evening with people who will be evaluating whether I belong there, and by extension, whether I belong with you. Olivia's response demonstrated growing awareness of perspectives initially foreign to her experience. They'll be looking for confirmation of their own biases. Some will expect you to be uncomfortable and out of place because that validates their belief that social boundaries should remain fixed. Her analysis revealed sophisticated understanding of social dynamics typically invisible to those born within privileged circles. Their conversation shifted from potential problems to practical solutions reflecting partnership approach to challenges rather than individual insecurities or resentments. The resulting plan included private dinner at exclusive restaurant week before gala, not as rehearsal, but as deliberate exposure to similar environment without professional stakes attached to performance. Olivia's connections secured private dining room, where Jack could acclimate to formal service protocols without audience of curious observers. This thoughtful preparation revealed relationship depth beyond romantic attraction or sexual chemistry, genuine care for partners' comfort and determination to address challenges together, rather than expecting unilateral adjustment from either person. The evening itself became unexpectedly enjoyable experience, as Jack discovered capacity to appreciate refined cuisine and formal service without feeling diminished by unfamiliar customs or surroundings. Their arrival at Charity Gala the following weekend projected unified presence despite obvious differences immediately noted by assembled business elite and social prominence. Jack's rented tuxedo, properly fitted and classically styled, allowed him to blend visually with other male attendees, while Olivia's deliberately understated elegance avoided creating additional contrast that might have emphasized their different backgrounds. The evening's initial challenge emerged during cocktail reception, where subtle social signals and established relationships created invisible landscape Jack navigated without benefit of lifetime exposure or professional stake in impressions formed. His natural inclination towards straightforward communication served unexpectedly well amid sophisticated maneuvering. Typical of such gatherings, his genuine questions about business operations and construction applications cutting through pretense with refreshing directness. Olivia observed his interactions with mixture of pride and protective awareness, noting both positive responses to his authentic engagement and occasional condescension poorly disguised as polite interest. Her professional experience navigating similar dynamics allowed strategic interventions when necessary without undermining his independence or suggesting inability to manage social situations independently. The evening's turning point arrived unexpectedly during dinner seating when Jack found himself separated from Olivia, placed instead beside board member's wife with reputation for pointed questions and social gatekeeping within company's extended community. The deliberate arrangement clearly intended to evaluate unsuitable relationship through uncomfortable scrutiny disguised as polite conversation. Margaret Whitfield's opening gambit employed gentle condescension wrapped in surface politeness. "This must be quite different from your usual evenings, Mr. Miller." Her practiced smile conveyed expectation of gratitude for attention from someone of her social position, regardless of implied judgment. Jack's response demonstrated growing confidence beyond initial discomfort with unfamiliar settings. Different certainly, though, construction management involves more formal dinners than people might expect. Building community relationships is surprisingly similar across different industries. His respectful but unapologetic comparison established professional competence without defensive overcompensation that would have confirmed her unspoken assumptions. Their conversation continued through multiple courses, shifting gradually from subtle evaluation to genuine exchange as Jack's knowledge of community development and infrastructure challenges revealed perspective rarely encountered within Margaret's usual social circle. Her growing engagement reflected surprising discovery of substance beneath surface differences she had initially dismissed based on occupation and background. Across the table, Olivia navigated similar terrain with investment banker whose questions about riverfront project transparently sought information about relationships' impact on business decisions rather than genuine interest in development specifications. Her handling of this interrogation balanced professional expertise with clear boundaries around personal matters, demonstrating separation between roles without suggesting relationship lacks significance in either context. The evening concluded with unexpected success, measured not by perfect social performance, but by authentic connections established despite initial skepticism from Olivia's professional community. Jack's conversation with company's lead architect during dessert revealed shared interest in sustainable building practices that transcended socioeconomic boundaries, while Olivia found herself genuinely enjoying Jack's perspective on long-established social rituals experienced through fresh perspective rather than lifetime habituation. Their departure from gala contained moment of private recognition amid public performance, brief exchange without words that acknowledged shared accomplishment in navigating challenging environment together. Jack's gentle hand at Olivia's back conveyed both support and partnership, rather than dependence or uncertainty, while her subtle lean into his guidance reflected trust rather than social necessity. The drive home provided opportunity for decompression and honest assessment beyond public personas maintained throughout evening. Jack's observation contained humor, balanced with genuine reflection. I've poured concrete foundations that were less exhausting than maintaining proper conversation through 5 courses. His comparison acknowledged the effort involved without suggesting resentment or fundamental discomfort with experience. Olivia's laughter released tension accumulated through evening of monitoring social currents while maintaining professional presence. You navigated shark-infested waters like a natural. Margaret Whitfield actually asked for your contact information about community development initiative that's practically formal adoption into high society. Her teasing contained genuine appreciation for his successful handling of potentially uncomfortable situation. Their relationship shifted subtly following this shared experience. Mutual confidence, strengthening through demonstrated ability to function in each other's worlds despite obvious differences and external skepticism. The practical reality of bridging their separate lives continued presenting challenges, but fundamental question of whether connection could survive beyond initial attraction had found affirmative answer through accumulated evidence rather than romantic declarations or idealistic promises. 5 months after their first meeting, Emma's school concert created opportunity for expanded family connection when Jack tentatively suggested inviting his former father-in-law alongside Olivia. This deliberate inclusion of Lisa's parent within evolving family structure acknowledged continued importance of connections predating current relationship while establishing new configuration that honored past without remaining constrained by it. Robert Mitchell's initial response contained characteristic gruffness, masking emotional complexity. Wasn't sure you'd still want old connections hanging around with your new situation. His comment revealed unspoken concern about diminishing role in granddaughter's life as new relationship potentially created different family structure. Jack's reply reflected growing emotional maturity developed through grief and subsequent healing. Emma needs her history and her future connected, not divided into separate parts of her life. Lisa will always be her mother. That doesn't change with anything else that happens. His perspective honored both past relationships and current possibilities without suggesting replacement or erasure of important connections. The concert itself became a watershed moment as 3 adults, Jack, Olivia, and Robert, sat together supporting Emma's performance, creating visible representation of evolving family structure that incorporated past and present without contradiction. Emma's delighted wave from stage a trio of supportive figures demonstrated child's capacity for integration, often exceeding adult complications or concerns about proper boundaries between past and present relationships. Following performance, Robert's interaction with Olivia revealed shifting perspective beyond initial skepticism about appropriate role in granddaughter's life. His invitation, gruff but genuine, broke remaining barrier between separate aspects of Emma's family connections. Sunday dinners at my place this weekend. Nothing fancy, but Emma likes helping make her grandmother's pasta recipe. His inclusion of Olivia within established family tradition acknowledged her growing significance while maintaining connections to Emma's maternal heritage. This expanded family configuration created new dimension in developing relationship, moving beyond romantic partnership or potential parenting arrangement to broader concept of blended family, incorporating histories and connections neither Jack nor Olivia had initially considered when attraction began. The practical reality of integrating these various relationships required patience and sensitivity alongside genuine desire to create cohesive support structure, transcending conventional definitions or expectations. 6 months into a relationship that had begun with impulsive question, Jack faced unexpected career opportunity that created potential conflict with carefully balanced life, gradually taking shape around evolving family configuration. His company offered promotion to project manager position, representing significant professional advancement and financial improvement, with complication of requiring relocation to development site 3 hours from current location. The offer created multi-dimensional challenge beyond simple career decision. Emma's established school and social connections would be disrupted during critical developmental period, while geographic separation would fundamentally alter relationship with Olivia, just as deeper commitment had begun emerging through accumulated experiences and demonstrated compatibility despite external pressures. Jack's initial reaction combined professional pride with personal uncertainty during conversation with supervisor following unexpected offer. His response acknowledged complexity beyond career considerations. I appreciate the confidence this represents. I'll need to consider all aspects of this decision, not just professional implications. The evening conversation with Olivia revealed emotional depth beneath practical considerations as they discussed potential separation after months of gradually increasing integration. Jack's perspective acknowledged multiple factors without clear resolution. This opportunity represents everything I've worked toward professionally. The timing couldn't be worse personally. Olivia's response demonstrated emotional investment balanced with respect for his autonomy and professional growth. What would make this decision right for you if our relationship wasn't a factor? Her question sought to separate complicated factors without minimizing significance of their connection or suggesting easy solution to fundamentally difficult choice. Their discussion continued beyond immediate practical concerns to larger questions about relationship direction and potential future neither had explicitly addressed despite growing indications of deeper commitment. Jack's honesty acknowledged unspoken trajectory without presuming outcome. 6 months ago, this decision would have been simple professional advancement. Now it feels like choosing between equally important parts of my life. Olivia's reply contained both vulnerability and strength as relationship faced first potential geographic separation. Perhaps the question isn't whether your career moves forward, but whether we've reached point where major life decisions happen together rather than separately. Her observation named transition point, many relationships encounter through circumstance rather than deliberate timing or formal commitment. Their conversation expanded beyond specific career opportunity to fundamental question about relationship status and future intentions neither had fully articulated despite growing integration of daily lives and emotional connection. The unspoken possibility that relationship had reached stage where major decisions would be made collectively rather than individually hung between them without explicit acknowledgement or resolution during the initial discussion. Emma's perspective added another dimension when Jack carefully raised possibility of moving during weekend breakfast routine that had gradually included Olivia's regular presence. Her response contained childlike directness, cutting through adult complexities. But what about Olivia? Would she come too? Or would we only see her sometimes, like we see Grandpa Robert? The innocent questions crystallized implications adult conversation had carefully navigated without explicitly naming growing interdependence that made separation increasingly difficult to contemplate despite relatively recent connection. Jack's careful response acknowledged complexity without making promises beyond current commitment. We're trying to figure that out together, sweetheart. Sometimes grown-up decisions take time because they affect a lot of people. The career opportunity created catalysts for conversations, both practical and emotional, as relationship faced decision point neither had anticipated encountering so quickly after initial connection. Jack's professional ambition and financial considerations collided with emotional attachment and family stability, creating genuine dilemma without obvious solution that wouldn't require significant sacrifice from someone within emerging family unit. Olivia's own professional obligations added another layer of complexity to potential solutions, her position as CEO requiring physical presence in-city where company headquarters and major operations remain centered, despite technology allowing some remote work flexibility. The practical reality of maintaining dual location relationship while supporting Emma's stability presented challenges beyond emotional willingness to continue connection despite geographic separation. Their discussions over subsequent weeks explored various possibilities without clear resolution, each option containing drawbacks alongside potential benefits, depending on priorities and perspectives. Jack's professional advancement represented significant achievement and financial security he had worked toward throughout career, while remaining in current location maintained family stability and relationship development reaching crucial stage. The tension between competing priorities created strain despite mutual commitment to finding solution, honoring all important aspects of increasingly intertwined lives. Jack's frustration emerged during particularly difficult conversation following long workday and Emma's bedtime. Sometimes I wonder if relationships between different worlds can ever really work long term. The daily realities keep colliding no matter how much we care about each other. Olivia's response contained both hurt and determination as relationship faced first fundamental challenge to continued viability. Perhaps the question isn't whether different worlds can connect, but whether we're willing to create new world together that incorporates parts of both. Her perspective offered alternative framework beyond simple compromise or sacrifice from either party. Their conversation shifted toward creative solutions beyond conventional options, considering possibilities neither would have imagined individually, but which emerged through collaborative problem-solving approach. The resulting framework, tentative and requiring verification through employer conversations and practical testing, involved partial relocation, allowing Jack to advance professionally while maintaining Emma's stability and relationship continuity through structured schedule and technology-assisted connection during necessary separations. This collaborative approach to potential separation demonstrated relationship depth beyond romantic attraction or compatibility of personalities. Genuine partnership capable of addressing significant challenges through mutual respect and creative thinking, rather than expectation that one person's priorities would automatically supersede others' needs or ambitions. The solution honored both Jack's professional development and family stability, while acknowledging Olivia's growing importance within their lives. 7 months into a relationship that had transformed from unlikely connection to significant partnership, Olivia faced professional crisis that created another dimension of challenge beyond personal considerations or practical logistics of maintaining connection across various differences. Major investor threatened withdrawal from Harrison Properties over concerns about leadership distraction and inappropriate personal associations, thinly veiled reference to relationship with Jack that certain board members continued viewing as potential liability despite demonstrated separation between personal and professional judgment. The threat represented first direct challenge requiring explicit choice between relationship and professional standing that had defined Olivia's identity and security throughout adult life. The board meeting addressing investor concerns contained none of previous subtle implications or indirect questioning confrontation, instead placing stark choice before CEO whose personal life had never previously interfered with business operations or company image. William Hargrove's presentation contained professional vocabulary barely disguising personal judgment and social prejudice. Our investors expect leadership that reflects company values and maintains appropriate associations. Recent developments raise questions about judgment and priorities that could affect stakeholder confidence. His careful phrasing avoided direct mention of Jack, while clearly identifying relationship as problematic for corporate image and investment security. Olivia's initial response maintained professional composure, while directly addressing unspoken assumptions underlying seemingly legitimate business concerns. I'd appreciate clarification about which company values my personal relationships supposedly contradict. Innovation integrity, recognition of quality, regardless of packaging. Her pointed question highlighted contradiction between stated corporate principles and unstated social expectations. The resulting discussion revealed fundamental conflict between external perceptions and authentic values that transcended business considerations despite legitimate concerns about investor relations and public image. Board members divided between those prioritizing traditional expectations and others recognizing changing social standards and personal autonomy beyond professional obligations. Olivia's position clarified gradually throughout extended meeting, evolving from defensive response to articulated philosophy, integrating professional principles with personal authenticity. Her eventual declaration established perspective, transcending immediate situation to address larger questions about leadership and values within modern business context. I don't need a husband who's wealthy. I need someone who knows how to love and care genuinely, who understands that authentic relationships are built on character rather than financial statements. If success requires sacrificing authentic relationships, then I'd rather redefine what success means to me. Her statement acknowledged potential professional consequences while establishing personal boundaries beyond which compromise became impossible, regardless of business implications. The meeting concluded without immediate resolution, but with clear understanding that Olivia would maintain relationship despite potential investor withdrawal and associated financial implications for company's ongoing projects and market position. Her willingness to accept professional consequences for personal choices represented significant shift in priorities that surprised both critics and supporters, within corporate structure, accustomed to her single-minded focus on business success. Jack's reaction upon learning about board confrontation and potential professional consequences revealed emotional depth beyond practical concerns about relationship stability or external perceptions. His immediate response focused on protecting Olivia's career, rather than relationship preservation despite growing commitment developed through months of connection. I won't be reason your life's work gets damaged. There must be compromise that preserves what you've built without requiring complete separation. Olivia's reply demonstrated transformed perspective beyond professional identity that had previously defined her sense of worth and purpose. My company matters, but not more than my integrity or happiness. I've spent years building successful business while neglecting everything that gives success meaning. Her assessment reflected fundamental shift in values catalyzed by relationship that had begun challenging priorities from first unexpected connection. Their conversation expanded beyond immediate crisis to larger questions about future direction and potential permanent commitment neither had explicitly discussed despite growing integration of daily lives and emotional attachment. Jack's perspective acknowledged changed landscape without presuming outcome. We've been gradually building something without naming what it's becoming. Maybe it's time to decide whether we're creating temporary structure or permanent foundation. The professional crisis created unexpected opportunity for relationship clarity as external pressure forced explicit consideration of priorities and commitments previously developing through gradual progression rather than deliberate decision. Their conversation continued past midnight, exploring territory most couples navigate through traditional landmarks of engagement and marriage, but which their unconventional beginning had approached through different pathway. 8 months after restaurant meeting that had begun unlikely connection between different worlds, Jack arranged special weekend without disclosing specific purpose beyond celebrating resolution of recent challenges. His careful planning included Emma's participation in initial family activities before overnight stay with Robert, creating first extended period alone together since relationship began amid parenting responsibilities and professional obligations. Their private dinner at neighborhood restaurant, where they'd shared first intentional date, contained significance beyond elegant setting or excellent cuisine, deliberately chosen location, connecting past beginning with potential future rather than impressive venue that might emphasize remaining differences between their worlds. Jack's unusual nervousness contrasted with typical confidence, creating subtle tension Olivia noticed without immediately understanding its source. The evening's conversation initially revisited journey from impulsive question to developing partnership, acknowledging challenges overcome and differences navigated through mutual respect rather than compromise or sacrifice from either person. Jack's perspective contained wonder, balanced with pragmatic assessment of relationship that continued defying conventional expectations or external judgments. Sometimes I still can't believe we found each other across such different lives. The odds against this working should have been insurmountable. Olivia's response reflected similar appreciation for unlikely connection that had transformed separate lives into shared a journey, despite obstacles neither had fully anticipated when attraction began. Perhaps the differences matter less than what remains the same at core values priorities. Fundamental understanding of what matters beyond surface appearances or social expectations. Their reflective conversation shifted gradually toward future possibilities as coffee arrived following leisurely dinner uninterrupted by professional emergencies or parenting responsibilities. Jack's expression changed subtly as conversation approached territory carefully avoided, despite growing indications of permanent attachment developing through accumulated experiences and demonstrated compatibility. For the first time since Lisa died, I feel like we might actually build something beautiful together. Not because of what you have, but because of who you are. His words emerged without rehearsal, containing emotional truth beyond practical considerations or logical assessment of relationship viability across different backgrounds. The evening concluded with unspoken understanding that relationship had reached transition point beyond casual connection or tentative exploration. Foundation established through challenges overcome and differences navigated. Now supporting potential structure neither had explicitly designed, but which had emerged through natural progression and demonstrated compatibility despite external pressures and practical complications. 9 months into a relationship that had begun with impulsive question In upscale restaurant, Emma's innocent observation during weekend breakfast, preparation captured transformation more accurately than sophisticated analysis or romantic declarations. Her matter-of-fact statement emerged while arranging pancakes on 3 plates that had become standard weekend configuration. We're like a real family now, just different from before. The simple assessment acknowledged reality adults sometimes complicated through analysis or uncertainty or recognition that connection had evolved beyond dating relationship or tentative arrangement into functioning family unit, despite unconventional beginning or ongoing adjustments to different backgrounds and experiences. The child's perspective cut through remaining adult hesitation about naming transformation already evident through daily interactions and accumulated shared experiences. Jack and Olivia exchanged glance across kitchen counter moment of silent communication, containing acknowledgement beyond words that relationship had indeed become something neither had anticipated when attraction began, but which now represented central reality, organizing separate lives into shared journey, despite challenges still requiring navigation and differences still requiring occasional translation between distinct perspectives. The following weekend brought opportunity for deliberate recognition of this transformed relationship when Park, where they had shared first planned meeting, hosted community festival, celebrating neighborhood's diverse residents and local businesses. The location meaningful in relationships development, from cautious exploration to established connection, provided perfect setting for acknowledging journey without formal declarations or public announcements that might have seemed premature despite growing certainty about shared future. Their afternoon together, Jack, Emma, and Olivia, moving through festival activities as unified group rather than temporary arrangement, created visible representation of family configuration developing despite unconventional beginning and ongoing adjustments to different backgrounds and experiences. Emma's comfortable interaction with both adults demonstrated child's natural adaptation to relationship stability beyond initial excitement or novelty of new connection in father's life. The Sunday dinner invitation from Robert Mitchell marked a new milestone in the relationship that had evolved beyond initial attraction to established partnership. Jack prepared Emma with characteristic care, explaining the importance of bringing Olivia into family traditions while maintaining connections to her mother's heritage. Emma's response, "We're bringing two families together, right, Daddy?" demonstrated emotional wisdom, sometimes exceeding adult understanding of complex transitions. Olivia approached the dinner with uncharacteristic nervousness, her typical boardroom confidence replaced by genuine concern about her appropriate role within this family configuration. Her careful selection of wine and dessert reflected her desire to respect established traditions rather than imposing external influence on long-standing family patterns. Robert's modest brick ranch house in a middle-class neighborhood presented a stark contrast to the executive penthouse or upscale restaurants typically associated with Olivia's public image. The home contained a lifetime of memories preserved through carefully maintained photographs and mementos tracking family history through generations. Lisa's childhood artwork still prominently displayed alongside Emma's recent creations in visual representation of continuing legacy. The kitchen became an unexpected center of connection as 3 adults navigated meal preparation in a space designed for family function rather than entertainment or impression. Robert's gruff directions, "Onions need chopping, finer than that Jack always gets them too chunky," created a familiar routine that gradually incorporated Olivia through practical tasks rather than formal introduction or designated role. Emma moved comfortably between adults, her natural inclusion of Olivia in family stories, reflecting the child's integration of this new relationship within her existing emotional framework. Her casual references to events before and after her mother's death maintained continuity of family narrative without artificial divisions between different relationship configurations. The dinner itself transcended simple sustenance to become a symbolic representation of expanding family structure. Robert's traditional blessing, unchanged for decades despite personal spiritual questions following his daughter's death, acknowledged individuals gathered around the table while emphasizing collective bonds extending beyond blood relationship or legal definition. Conversation flowed with increasing ease. As the evening progressed, initial caution gradually replaced by genuine exchange. Robert's unexpected question during dessert created momentary tension through directness typically avoided in polite interaction. "So when are you two making this arrangement official?" His blunt inquiry cut through careful ambiguity maintained despite growing indications of permanent commitment. Jack's immediate response reflected protective instinct toward their relationship developing according to its own timeline rather than external expectations. His attempted deflection, "We're taking things as they come, focusing on what works for all of us," sought to maintain privacy around decisions not yet formally addressed. Olivia's reply contained surprising candor, given their reticence about explicit future discussion. "When the right moment comes, we'll know. Some journeys follow different paths than others, but still reach the same destination." Her philosophical observation acknowledged their unconventional beginning, while suggesting a traditional outcome remain possible. Emma's contribution demonstrated Child's concrete thinking, cutting through abstract considerations. "Like getting married, my friend Zoe's mom and stepdad had a wedding with cake and dancing." Her immediate translation of vague adult conversation into specific possibility created momentary silence as implications emerged into explicit acknowledgement. Robert's expression softened with unexpected emotion. "Lisa would want you all to be happy, whatever shape that takes." His statement contained hard-earned wisdom, transcending conventional expectations to focus on essential emotional truth beyond specific relationship configurations. The evening concluded with a significant shift in family dynamic. Olivia's inclusion no longer tentative guest status, but recognized element within evolving structure. Robert's parting comment, "Next Sunday's your turn to host," established continuing pattern rather than isolated event, acknowledging the permanent nature of connection developing beyond initial stage. Driving home, Jack found himself considering implications beyond specific evening or practical logistics. His quiet observation spoken half to himself as city lights reflected through windshield addressed larger significance. Family doesn't always look like we expect. Sometimes it grows in directions we never imagined possible. Olivia's response contained equal parts wonder and pragmatism. 9 months ago, I couldn't have pictured myself making pasta sauce in your former father-in-law's kitchen or discussing school fundraisers with other parents. Life's best moments often come from paths we never planned to walk. The week following Robert's dinner brought unexpected catalysts for relationship advancement when Jack received phone call from his supervisor. The conversation began with standard project updates before shifting towards significant news. "I've been authorized to offer you the project manager position for the West Ridge development. It's a substantial promotion, 20% salary increase, expanded benefits, management experience that could open doors for further advancement." Jack's initial excitement dimmed as his supervisor continued. "There's one complication. The position requires relocation to the site for at least 18 months. Riverton's about 3 hours from here. Company would cover moving expenses and temporary housing until you find something suitable." The offer created multi-dimensional challenge beyond simple career decision. Emma's established school and social connections would be disrupted during critical developmental period, while geographic separation would fundamentally alter relationship with Olivia, just as deeper commitment had begun emerging through accumulated experiences and demonstrated compatibility. Jack's response acknowledged complexity beyond career considerations. "I appreciate the confidence this represents. I'll need to consider all aspects of this decision, not just professional implications." His measured words masked turbulent emotions as he contemplated choices that would have seemed straightforward months earlier. That evening, Emma's bedtime routine completed, Jack described the opportunity to Olivia as they sat at his small kitchen table. His perspective acknowledged multiple factors without clear resolution. "This represents everything I've worked toward professionally. The timing couldn't be worse personally." Olivia's response demonstrated emotional investment, balanced with respect for his autonomy and professional growth. "What would make this decision right for you if our relationship wasn't a factor?" Her questions sought to separate complicated factors without minimizing significance of their connection. Their discussion continued beyond immediate practical concerns and larger questions about relationship direction and potential future neither had explicitly addressed despite growing indications of deeper commitment. Jack's honesty acknowledged unspoken trajectory without presuming outcome. 6 months ago, this decision would have been simple professional advancement. Now it feels like choosing between equally important parts of my life. Olivia's reply contained both vulnerability and strength as relationship faced first potential geographic separation. Perhaps the question isn't whether your career moves forward, but whether we've reached point where major life decisions happen together rather than separately. Her observation named transition point many relationships encounter through circumstance rather than deliberate timing. The unspoken possibility that relationship had reached stage where major decisions would be made collectively rather than individually hung between them without explicit acknowledgement during initial discussion. Emma's perspective added another dimension when Jack carefully raised possibility of moving during weekend breakfast routine. Her response contained childlike directness, cutting through adult complexities. But what about Olivia? Would she come too? Or would we only see her sometimes like we see Grandpa Robert? The innocent questions crystallized implications adult conversation had carefully navigated without explicitly naming growing interdependence. Jack's careful response acknowledged complexity without making promises beyond current commitment. We're trying to figure that out together, sweetheart. Sometimes grown-up decisions take time because they affect a lot of people. The career opportunity created catalysts for conversations both practical and emotional as relationship faced decision point neither had anticipated encountering so quickly. Jack's professional ambition and financial considerations collided with emotional attachment and family stability, creating genuine dilemma without obvious solution that wouldn't require significant sacrifice from someone within a merging family unit. Olivia's professional obligations added another layer of complexity, her position as CEO requiring physical presence in city where company headquarters remain centered. The practical reality of maintaining dual location relationship while supporting Emma's stability presented challenges beyond emotional willingness to continue connection despite geographic separation. Their discussions over subsequent weeks explored various possibilities without clear resolution, each option containing drawbacks alongside potential benefits, depending on priorities and perspectives. The tension between competing priorities created strain despite mutual commitment to finding solution, honoring all important aspects of their increasingly intertwined lives. Jack's frustration emerged during particularly difficult conversation following long workday. Sometimes I wonder if relationships between different worlds can ever really work long term. The daily realities keep colliding, no matter how much we care about each other. Olivia's response contained both hurt and determination. Perhaps the question isn't whether different worlds can connect, but whether we're willing to create new world together that incorporates parts of both. Her perspective offered alternative framework beyond simple compromise or sacrifice from either party. 3 days later, Jack received unexpected visit from Robert Mitchell, while Emma attended birthday party, and Olivia handled emergency business situation. The unusual timing, former father-in-law rarely appearing without prior arrangement, created immediate concern about potential problem affecting extended family connection. Robert's purpose emerged through characteristic directness once preliminary greetings established absence of emergency. I've been thinking about Lisa, what she would want for you and Emma after all this time. His introduction created momentary tension through explicit reference to deceased wife typically acknowledged through indirect mentions rather than direct discussion. The conversation that followed contained emotional depth, transcending practical advice, genuine exchange between men connected through shared love for child, representing continuing legacy beyond individual relationship. Robert's perspective emerged through hard-earned wisdom following personal loss and subsequent adjustment. Grief keeps people frozen in place, sometimes afraid moving forward means leaving loved ones behind rather than carrying them differently. Jack's response acknowledged truth within observation that addressed unspoken hesitation, sometimes emerging despite growing commitment to relationship. I've worried Emma might think loving someone new somehow diminishes what we had with Lisa, that creating different families somehow erases what came before. Robert's reply contained lifetime of experience distilled into essential insight transcending specific circumstances. Children understand love expands rather than divides when given proper context. Emma doesn't need protected from happiness. She needs permission to embrace it without guilt or confusion. His assessment addressed fundamental concern underlying practical considerations that had sometimes complicated relationship development. The conversation shifted towards specific possibility, both men recognized through observation of developing relationship, but which remained unnamed through mutual respect for personal timeline. Robert's approach maintained balance between encouragement and respect for autonomy regarding potential formalization of commitment. Lisa's grandmother's ring is still in the safe deposit box. She always hoped it would continue through generations if the right situation came along. This implicit acknowledgement of potential marriage offered without pressure, but with clear support for possibility created significant shift in perspective regarding appropriate timeline and formal recognition of commitment already established through practical integration and emotional connection. Robert's visit provided unexpected catalysts for clarity regarding career opportunity and relationship direction. But before Jack could fully process these insights, Olivia faced professional crisis that created another dimension of challenge beyond personal considerations or practical logistics of maintaining connection. Major investor threatened withdrawal from Harrison Properties over concerns about leadership distraction and inappropriate personal associations, thinly veiled reference to relationship with Jack that certain board members continued viewing as potential liability despite demonstrated separation between personal and professional judgment. The threat represented first direct challenge requiring explicit choice between relationship and professional standing that had defined Olivia's identity and security throughout adult life. The board meeting addressing investor concerns placed stark choice before CEO, whose personal life had never previously interfered with business operations or company image. William Hargrove's presentation contained professional vocabulary, barely disguising personal judgment and social prejudice. Our investors expect leadership that reflects company values and maintains appropriate associations. Recent developments raise questions about judgment and priorities that could affect stakeholder confidence. His careful phrasing avoided direct mention of Jack while clearly identifying relationship as problematic. Olivia's initial response maintained professional composure while directly addressing unspoken assumptions underlying seemingly legitimate business concerns. I'd appreciate clarification about which company values my personal relationships supposedly contradict. Innovation integrity, recognition of quality regardless of packaging. Her pointed question highlighted contradiction between stated corporate principles and unstated social expectations. The resulting discussion revealed fundamental conflict between external perceptions and authentic values, transcending business considerations, despite legitimate concerns about investor relations and public image. Board members divided between those prioritizing traditional expectations and others recognizing changing social standards and personal autonomy beyond professional obligations. Olivia's position clarified gradually throughout extended meeting, evolving from defensive response to articulated philosophy, integrating professional principles with personal authenticity. Her eventual declaration established perspective transcending immediate situation to address larger questions about leadership and values within modern business context. I don't need a husband who's wealthy. I need someone who knows how to love and care genuinely, who understands that authentic relationships are built on character rather than financial statements. If success requires sacrificing authentic relationships, then I'd rather redefine what success means to me. Her statement acknowledged potential professional consequences while establishing personal boundaries beyond which compromise became impossible. The meeting concluded without immediate resolution, but with clear understanding that Olivia would maintain relationship despite potential investor withdrawal and associated financial implications for company's ongoing projects and market position. Her willingness to accept professional consequences for personal choices represented significant shift in priorities that surprised both critics and supporters within corporate structure. Jack's reaction upon learning about board confrontation and potential professional consequences revealed emotional depth beyond practical concerns about relationship stability. His immediate response focused on protecting Olivia's career rather than relationship preservation despite growing commitment. I won't be reason your life's work gets damaged. There must be compromise that preserves what you've built without requiring complete separation. Olivia's reply demonstrated transformed perspective beyond professional identity that had previously defined her sense of worth and purpose. My company matters, but not more than my integrity or happiness. I've spent years building successful business while neglecting everything that gives success meaning. Her assessment reflected fundamental shift in values catalyzed by relationship that had begun challenging priorities from first unexpected connection. Their conversation expanded beyond immediate crisis to larger questions about future direction and potential permanent commitment neither had explicitly discussed, despite growing integration of daily lives and emotional attachment. Jack's perspective acknowledged changed landscape without presuming outcome. We've been gradually building something without naming what it's becoming. Maybe it's time to decide whether we're creating temporary structure or permanent foundation. The professional crisis created unexpected opportunity for relationship clarity as external pressure forced explicit consideration of priorities and commitments, previously developing through gradual progression rather than deliberate decision. Their conversation continued past midnight, exploring territory most couples navigate through traditional landmarks but which their unconventional beginning had approached through different pathway. The following week brought unexpected solution to competing professional and personal priorities when Jack received call from former colleague now working with Regional Development Corporation. The conversation began with general catch-up before shifting towards significant possibility. We're looking at partnering with private investor for mixed-use development project about 40 minutes north of the city. The investor's looking for experienced construction management to oversee implementation. Jack's professional interest was immediately engaged, but specific implications remained unclear until his colleague continued. Funny coincidence, the investor exploring partnership is Harrison Properties. Thought you might have inside track given current circumstances. Opportunity could provide advancement without relocation, perfect compromise if personal considerations matter in your decision process. The potential arrangement involved Harrison Properties acquiring partial interest in development project, requiring experienced construction management, creating opportunity for Jack's professional advancement without geographic separation that had previously presented obstacle to relationship progression alongside career development. That evening, Olivia confirmed corporate exploration of this investment opportunity while emphasizing her deliberate distance from personnel discussions to avoid perception of inappropriate influence. Our acquisition team identified project independently based on strategic growth objectives. Your name came up through normal vetting process for construction management. Your supervisor recommended you based on performance record. Their discussion contained excitement, balanced with cautious assessment of proposal representing perfect theoretical solution, but requiring practical verification before commitment to major professional and personal transition. Jack's perspective acknowledged opportunity while recognizing potential complications. This could solve everything career advancement without separation, but mixing our professional and personal lives creates different challenges we haven't faced before. Olivia's response reflected business acumen alongside personal investment. Working together brings risk alongside opportunity. Clear boundaries would be essential. Separate reporting structures, transparent decision processes, explicit division between professional interactions and personal relationship. Her practical approach addressed legitimate concerns while emphasizing potential benefits transcending individual considerations. The following weeks brought careful exploration of opportunity, representing potential turning point in relationship development alongside professional advancement for both partners. Meetings with respective employers, legal consultations regarding potential conflicts of interest, and practical assessment of logistics created framework for possible arrangement, honoring both career aspirations and personal commitment without requiring sacrifice from either party. Emma's perspective added important dimension to consideration of potential changes affecting established routines and emotional security alongside practical living arrangements. Her initial questions focused on concrete aspects. Would we still live in our apartment? Could I keep going to my school? Gradually expanding to emotional considerations, reflecting deeper understanding of potential transformation in family structure. The professional opportunity created catalysts for conversations previously approached cautiously despite growing indications of permanent attachment. Jack's assessment during evening walk through neighborhood park addressed larger implications beyond specific arrangement. This isn't just about job opportunity or convenient solution. It represents crossroads we've been approaching without explicitly acknowledging the destination. Olivia's reply contained emotional honesty, transcending professional considerations, or practical logistics, typically emphasized in their careful approach to relationship development. Perhaps we've been building foundation all these months without naming the structure we intended to create. The metaphor acknowledged construction reality familiar to Jack while addressing relationship development through framework meaningful to both partners. Their conversation expanded beyond specific opportunity to larger questions about relationship status and future intentions. The unspoken possibility that professional collaboration might coincide with personal commitment through formal arrangement rather than continuing evolution without explicit definition emerged gradually through discussion, ostensibly focused on practical considerations, but increasingly addressing emotional implications and potential permanence. 11 months after restaurant meeting that had begun unlikely connection, Jack arranged special weekend commemorating anniversary of relationship that had transformed separate lives into shared journey, despite obstacles neither had fully anticipated when attraction began. The planned celebration combined activities meaningful to all three family members, rather than traditional romantic gesture, excluding child from significant milestone. The weekend began with family breakfast at Original Diner, where Jack and Olivia had shared first intentional meeting following impulsive restaurant introduction. Emma's delight in revisiting locations she recognized from family stories. This is where you had coffee when you were deciding if you liked each other. Created bridge between relationship history and current reality through child's perspective, incorporating new connections within continuous narrative. Their afternoon included community garden project where Olivia's corporate foundation had partnered with neighborhood association, creating green space within formerly neglected urban area, meaningful combination of professional contribution and personal values representing balanced integration of different worlds, initially separated by vast socioeconomic distance. The shared activity planting trees that would mature through coming decades provided perfect metaphor for relationship developed through patient growth, rather than immediate transformation. The evening brought unexpected development when Jack arranged childcare through carefully orchestrated sleepover invitation from Emma's best friend, creating rare opportunity for adult celebration without parenting responsibilities or professional obligations. The private dinner reservation secured at upscale restaurant where relationship had begun through impulsive question nearly a year earlier, created perfect symmetry through deliberate return to location that had witnessed unlikely beginning of connection, defying conventional expectations and external judgments. Their arrival at restaurant created subtle ripple of recognition among the staff, remembering previous encounter that had generated considerable attention through unexpected interaction between CEO and construction worker, breaking established social patterns and conventional romantic narratives. The maitre d's discreet acknowledgement, "Your usual table is ready," Ms. Harrison, contained knowing appreciation for relationship development that had progressed from surprising beginning to established partnership despite skepticism, initially greeting unconventional connection. The anniversary dinner contained relaxed intimacy developed through months of shared experiences and challenges navigated through mutual respect rather than compromise or sacrifice from either partner. Their conversation reflected comfortable familiarity alongside continuing discovery, characterizing successful relationship, balancing stability with growth beyond initial attraction or novelty of crossing social boundaries. Jack's expression changed subtly as evening progressed toward moment planned, with characteristic care but implemented with spontaneity reflecting personal style rather than conventional romantic performance. His acknowledgement of anniversary significance contained appreciation for journey accomplished alongside recognition of continuing evolution. A year ago, you asked unexpected question that changed everything. Tonight, I have question of my own that's been forming ever since. The velvet box appeared without theatrical flourish or excessive ceremony. Simple container holding vintage ring representing family heritage alongside potential future through symbolic connection spanning generations and relationships. Jack's proposal emerged through straightforward honesty, characterizing his approach to significant moments throughout relationship development. For the first time since losing Lisa, I've found someone who makes future seem filled with possibility rather than obligation or endurance. Would you consider making this arrangement permanent, officially joining our family through whatever ceremony or legal structure makes sense for all of us? Olivia's response contained emotional depth, sometimes masked through professional composure or practical problem-solving, typically characterizing her public persona. The careful hesitation lasting just long enough to signal genuine consideration rather than automatic acceptance reflected appropriate recognition of significance beyond romantic gesture or social expectation. Yes, with one condition. We build this marriage to fit who we actually are, rather than trying to force ourselves into traditional mold or expected pattern. Their mutual agreement is sealed through exchange of ring, representing heritage alongside commitment to creating authentic partnership, honoring different backgrounds, while building shared future contained recognition of journey accomplished, alongside acknowledgement of continuing evolution rather than completed destination. The evening concluded with understanding beyond words that relationship had indeed become structure, sturdy enough to withstand remaining challenges and support, continued growth through formal commitment, representing choice rather than convention, possibility rather than obligation. The following morning brought practical implementation of emotional commitment through family breakfast, where Emma would learn about formal engagement, representing official acknowledgement of family configuration already functioning through daily integration and demonstrated partnership. Jack's careful explanation balanced child's understanding of marriage concept with appropriate distinction between previous relationship with mother and new commitment developing through different connection and circumstances. Emma's response reflected emotional intelligence, sometimes exceeding adult capacity for unconditional acceptance, and straightforward joy unencumbered by complicated history or social expectations. She can't replace mommy, but she makes our family bigger instead of smaller. The child's assessment captured essential truth transcending adult complexities or conventional relationship categories to focus on emotional reality beyond specific definitions or traditional patterns. The family celebration expanded through weekend to include Robert's participation, his genuine pleasure in engagement announcement reflecting personal growth beyond initial protective concern to genuine appreciation for relationship bringing happiness and stability to both his granddaughter's family and Olivia's previously isolated existence. His practical contribution offering family lakeside cabin for potential wedding location represented tangible support alongside emotional acceptance of new family configuration, honoring past connections while creating space for new relationships. Planning process for wedding ceremony created another opportunity for relationship to demonstrate balanced integration of different perspectives and priorities, developed through months of navigating challenges through mutual respect, rather than compromise or sacrifice from either partner. Jack's preference for meaningful simplicity aligned with Olivia's desire for authentic celebration rather than social performance or impressive display, sometimes associated with executive position in public profile. Emma's involvement in preparation assigned age-appropriate responsibilities alongside opportunity for creative contribution through artistic projects and ceremony participation, reinforced family-centered approach to commitment celebration rather than exclusive romantic narrative or adult-focused transition, excluding child from significant milestone affecting entire family configuration. The engagement announcement created predictable media interest given Olivia's professional position and previous publicity surrounding unconventional relationship beginning. Corporate Communications Department prepared standard press release emphasizing private nature of celebration and requesting respect for family boundaries, professional management of public dimension that might otherwise intrude upon personal milestone through excessive attention or speculative commentary. Jack's coworkers demonstrated evolved perspective beyond initial skepticism or envious speculation that had sometimes characterized workplace reaction to relationship development. The genuine congratulations offered without insinuation about strategic advantage or financial motivation, previously suggested through bitter jokes or cynical assessment, reflected growing recognition of authentic connection transcending obvious differences in background or socioeconomic position. Olivia's executive team similarly demonstrated transformed understanding beyond initial concern about professional implications or corporate image potentially affected through CEO's personal association outside typical social circle. The boardroom acknowledgement brief but sincere expression of good wishes during business meeting, otherwise focused on quarterly projections, represented appropriate recognition of significant personal development without excessive attention or intrusive questioning, sometimes characterizing previous interactions regarding relationship status. The wedding planning process reflected practical approach to significant transitions characterizing relationship development throughout previous year, thoughtful consideration of various perspectives alongside clear communication about priorities and potential compromises required through integration of different preferences and traditions. The resulting ceremony design combined meaningful simplicity with appropriate acknowledgement of professional connections and family relationships, contributing to journey from unlikely beginning to formal commitment. 12 months after restaurant meeting that had begun unlikely connection between different worlds, Robert's lakeside cabin transformed from rustic vacation property to elegant wedding venue through careful enhancement rather than complete reimagining. Perfect metaphor for relationship preserving authentic character while creating space for growth and development beyond initial circumstances or limitations. The ceremony itself reflected balanced integration of different backgrounds and perspectives, characterizing successful navigation of challenges through mutual respect rather than compromise or sacrifice from either partner. The guest list, limited to genuine connections rather than social obligations or professional networking, included individuals representing various aspects of combined life developed through months of careful integration and deliberate relationship building. Jack stood beneath simple archway, constructed from reclaimed materials, salvaged through construction projects representing professional journey alongside personal development, symbolic representation of values and priorities, transcending specific circumstances or socioeconomic position to focus on substance rather than appearance, authenticity rather than impression. Emma's position beside Father's special attendant, rather than traditional flower girl, actively participating in ceremony rather than decorative addition to adult proceedings, reinforced family-centered approach to commitment. Celebration, acknowledging child's essential role within evolving structure rather than peripheral consideration or afterthought within romantic narrative. Olivia appeared without traditional processional or theatrical entrance, walking instead with Robert, whose unexpected role represented perfect symmetry through deliberate inclusion, transcending conventional categories or relationship definitions to focus on emotional truth beyond specific labels or traditional patterns. The older man's evident emotion, typically masked through gruff practicality or protective reserve, revealed genuine acceptance of new family configuration, honoring daughter's memory while embracing future possibilities through expanded connection rather than diminished legacy. The ceremony combines traditional elements with personalized components, reflecting unique journey from unlikely beginning to formal commitment through challenges navigated and differences bridged through genuine connection rather than social convention or romantic idealization. The vows, written collaboratively rather than selected from standard options, acknowledge reality of relationship developed through practical circumstances alongside emotional attachment, rather than abstract promises or poetic declarations disconnected from daily implementation of partnership principles. Jack's promise contained characteristic directness alongside emotional depth, sometimes masked through practical focus or paternal responsibilities. I commit to building future that honors our past while creating something entirely new, partnership based on mutual respect, genuine understanding, and daily decision to choose connection even when differences seem insurmountable. His vow acknowledged journey accomplished alongside recognition of continuing evolution rather than completed destination. Olivia's response reflected transformed perspective beyond professional achievement or material success, previously defining her sense of fulfillment and security. I promise to value substance over appearance, authentic connection over convenient arrangement, and difficult truth over comfortable pretense. With you and Emma, I've found success that can't be measured through conventional metrics, but which brings meaning beyond anything I've previously accomplished. Her commitment acknowledged personal growth alongside relationship development through framework transcending romantic narrative to focus on essential values and priorities. Emma's unexpected contribution. Small voice suddenly offering additional promise during moment of silence following adult exchange created emotional peak, transcending formal ceremony or legal procedure to capture essential truth of family commitment, extending beyond romantic partnership or parental obligation. I promise to remember we're family forever, even when we're mad at each other. The child's straightforward addition reflected emotional wisdom, sometimes exceeding adult capacity for unconditional acceptance and straightforward expression, unencumbered by complicated history or social expectations. The celebration following ceremony reflected balanced integration of different preferences and traditions, characterizing relationship development throughout previous year. Elegant simplicity rather than ostentatious display or impressive performance, sometimes associated with executive position and financial capacity. The lakeside gathering combines sophisticated elements with casual comfort, creating an environment where diverse guests from various aspects of combined life could interact without artificial separation between different social circles or relationship categories. Jack's construction colleagues engaged with Olivia's executive team through genuine conversation, rather than awkward politeness or status-conscious interaction, sometimes characterizing forced social integration across significant socioeconomic boundaries. Robert found unexpected common ground with the corporate board members through shared interest in community development and educational initiatives, transcending obvious differences in background or professional experience to focus on compatible values and complementary perspectives. Emma moved comfortably between various guest groupings, equally at ease with Jack's supervisor's grandchildren and Olivia's corporate lawyer's teenage daughters, creating bridges between different social circles through natural charm and unaffected friendliness, developed through secure attachment and consistent emotional support throughout family transition and relationship development. The evening concluded with lakeside gathering where immediate family, Jack, Olivia, Emma, and Robert shared quiet moments away from celebration, acknowledging significance beyond specific ceremony or legal procedure to focus on emotional reality of connection, transcending conventional categories or traditional relationship definitions. Their conversation contained appreciation for journey accomplished alongside recognition of continuing evolution rather than completed destination, genuine exchange about future possibilities beyond immediate celebration or formal commitment. 13 months after a restaurant meeting that had begun unlikely connection between different worlds, the newly formalized family unit settled into combined residence, representing balanced integration of different preferences and priorities, developed through months of careful consideration and thoughtful compromise. The selected home, neither Jack's modest apartment nor Olivia's luxury penthouse, but entirely new space chosen collaboratively, provided perfect environment for family configuration officially acknowledged through recent ceremony, but functioning through previous year of relationship development and practical adjustment. Emma's enthusiasm for new living arrangement reflected child's adaptability alongside emotional security established through consistent support and honest communication throughout family transition and relationship development. Her bedroom design, combining favorite elements from previous space with new possibilities enabled through expanded resources, but guided by established values, created perfect metaphor for family integration, preserving individual identities while developing collective experience beyond separate histories or distinct backgrounds. Jack's home office incorporated construction plans and professional materials alongside family photographs and personal mementos, balanced representation of integrated identity, encompassing professional expertise, parental responsibilities, and partnership commitment, without artificial separation between different aspects of authentic self or a compartmentalized experience, sometimes characterizing previous adaptation to single parenthood alongside demanding career. Olivia's transformed perspective manifested through deliberate boundaries between professional obligations and family priorities previously blurred through workaholic tendencies and achievement-oriented identity development. The established home routines, morning coffee shared before separate professional responsibilities, evening family dinner, regardless of business demands, weekend activities prioritizing relationship development alongside individual interests, reflected intentional implementation of values beyond executive success or corporate advancement. The professional collaboration previously arranged through careful separation of reporting structures and transparent decision processes developed successful implementation alongside personal relationship without compromising either essential partnership through inappropriate influence or conflicting priorities. Jack's construction management expertise complemented Olivia's development vision through balanced perspective, incorporating practical reality alongside aspirational planning, professional synergy, reflecting personal compatibility, despite obvious differences in background or formal education. Robert's regular involvement, Sunday dinners alternating between households, occasional weekday visits coordinated through family calendar, holiday traditions, preserved alongside new celebrations, maintained important connection to Emma's maternal heritage, while incorporating expanded relationship within evolving family structure. The grandfather's gradually developing friendship with Olivia, initially cautious acceptance transformed through genuine appreciation for shared values and compatible perspectives, created additional dimension within family configuration, transcending conventional categories or traditional relationship definitions. 14 months after restaurant meeting that had begun unlikely connection between different worlds, Jack found himself standing beside Olivia during community center dedication, representing perfect synthesis of different backgrounds and perspectives, united through compatible values and complementary strengths, despite obvious differences in formal education or socioeconomic position. The project initiated through Harrison Properties Community Foundation, but implemented through practical expertise and local connections, developed through Jack's construction background, demonstrated professional synergy alongside personal partnership. Emma proudly distributed program booklets to assembled guests, her confident interaction with various community members reflecting secure attachment and consistent emotional support throughout family transition and relationship development. The child's easy reference to our family project demonstrated integrated identity beyond separate contributions or distinct roles, genuine understanding of collaborative partnership, transcending individual achievements or personal recognition. The ceremonial ribbon cutting created perfect symbolic representation of journey accomplished through combined effort rather than individual accomplishment or isolated expertise. Jack and Olivia stood together, neither commanding attention individually, but collectively representing successful integration of different perspectives and complementary strengths through genuine partnership, transcending professional collaboration or romantic connection to encompass comprehensive life, sharing beyond conventional relationship categories or traditional social expectations. Their exchanged glance during community celebration contained recognition beyond words, silent acknowledgement of transformation accomplished through months of navigation across different worlds or gradually converging through genuine connection rather than deliberate planning or conscious intention. The moment captured essential truth of relationship developed through authentic interaction rather than strategic consideration or social convention, partnership founded upon compatible values and mutual respect, despite obvious differences in background or external circumstances. The family departed celebration together. Jack, Olivia, and Emma creating visible representation of connection, transcending conventional categories or traditional definitions through balanced integration of different histories and perspectives within cohesive unit functioning through demonstrated compatibility and intentional commitment. Their conversation reflected comfortable familiarity alongside continuing discovery, characterizing successful relationship, balancing stability with growth beyond initial attraction or novelty of crossing social boundaries. Emma's observation during drive home contained childlike directness, cutting through at adult complexities with characteristic precision. We're really good at being a family, even though we had to figure it out ourselves instead of copying someone else. Her assessment acknowledged unique development pattern and alongside successful implementation, recognition of distinctive journey toward common destination through unconventional pathway tailored to specific circumstances rather than predetermined template or expected progression. Jack's response reflected parental wisdom balanced with partner perspective, developed through months of relationship growth alongside professional collaboration and personal development. The best structures get designed specifically for their purpose, rather than following standard blueprint, regardless of situation. Sometimes creating something completely new works better than trying to modify existing plans that don't quite fit what you need. His explanation honored construction reality, familiar through professional expertise, while addressing family development through framework meaningful beyond specific metaphor. Olivia's contribution completed conversation through perspective, transcending executive success or corporate achievement to focus on essential values and meaningful connection beyond professional accomplishment or material acquisition. Perhaps that's true success, not achieving predetermined goal, but creating something authentic that perfectly suits actual needs rather than expected standards or conventional measures. Her philosophical observation acknowledged transformed understanding of achievement and fulfillment beyond previous definition, limited through professional identity or social recognition. Their family discussion continued through evening routine, developed over months of careful integration and deliberate relationship building, comfortable pattern, reflecting balanced priorities and compatible values despite different backgrounds and experiences, contributing to unique family configuration. The conversation expanded beyond specific celebration to larger considerations about future possibilities and continuing development beyond formal commitment to focus on emotional reality and practical implementation of partnership principles through daily interaction and ongoing adjustment to evolving circumstances. As they arrived home, no longer separate dwellings but shared space representing balanced integration of different preferences and priorities they carried with them. Understanding that family created through deliberate choice rather than conventional pattern or predetermined template offered possibilities beyond traditional structures or expected configurations. Their unlikely connection, begun through impulsive question in upscale restaurant, had evolved through careful navigation of different worlds into partnership founded upon mutual respect and compatible values despite obvious differences gradually diminishing through shared understanding and collaborative growth beyond initial separation between different perspectives. The home lights welcomed them back, warm illumination representing safety and belonging beyond physical shelter or material possession, to encompass emotional security and relational stability developed through months of intentional commitment and demonstrated compatibility. Their shared entrance reflected partnership approach to family life, characterizing relationship development throughout journey from tentative beginning to established connection, balanced integration of different perspectives, contributing to cohesive whole transcending individual components or separate identities, while honoring distinct contributions and personal histories within expanding narrative of collective experience.